XABI Alonso has decided on Real Madrid's tactical formation. What sacrifices will Vinicius Jr. and MBAPPE have to make, and why will two important Madrid players have to leave this summer? There are 2 weeks left until Madrid's first match at the Club World Cup under XABI Alonso's management. The coach has already started working actively, but the first training session will take place on June 9th. However, only 5 players are expected to attend: Vázquez, Asensio, Fran, Ceballos and Rodrigo. One group of players is with their national teams, for example, MBAPPE and Bellingham, while another group is injured. And there are also players who need rest and recovery: Fede, Courtois and others. Here's what's important. XABI Alonso has already assessed Madrid's squad for the upcoming season and realized that there aren't enough players with the right characteristics for his main tactical system with 3 central defenders. At least for now, since many players are injured, which means the season will have to start with a different formation 4-3-3, and that entails serious work with the attacking line players. Marca reports that XABI Alonso has planned individual talks with the players to communicate his requirements to them. This is especially true for the attacking trio. MBAPPE, Vinicius Jr, Arda or Rodrigo will have to adapt. It is impossible for all 3 to be exempt from defensive duties. It is also reported that Vinicius Jr will be the first player the coach wants to have a serious conversation with and even ask him to accept the new realities. The message is this: everything depends not only on the Brazilian's performance in attack, but also on his willingness to make sacrifices for the team. XABI Alonso hates it when players are unwilling to work on the pitch. Here we can ask the question: is Vinicius Jr ready to make sacrifices, to work harder defensively, and in general to work for the team? Share your opinion in the comments, but I'll say briefly, I don't really believe in it. This season we remember moments when Madrid players themselves asked Vinicius Jr to help out in defense, and it led to tension within the team. When XABI Alonso asks him, of course that will be a different matter, but still I'm not sure the Brazilian will like it, or that he's ready to improve, adapt, and ultimately simply change his style of play. Vinicius Jr has 2 more seasons left in Madrid. Uncle Florentino Perez is tired of his antics, so don't call him a troublemaker. I don't want to be associated with that. I don't understand how he can be such a smart footballer and yet act so foolishly on the pitch. I know a lot of Madrid fans who are already fed up with him. Someone needs to talk to him and tell him to stop doing all this nonsense. Of course, this is just the opinion of a journalist from Barcelona, and it's clear that nothing good is thought or said about Vinicius Jr in Barcelona. But we will defend our player. At the same time, we also understand that Vinicius Jr needs to change as the years go by. He needs to become more mature. And we really do see some hints of that. But when XABI Alonso arrives, first and foremost, Vinicius Jr should especially reflect on his behavior and on how he can influence the team's play. Whether he will be able to adapt and mature under XABI Alonso's leadership is still a big question. And finally, the next question might be: is MBAPPE capable of changing in the same way as Vinicius Jr? And that's a very interesting question, because the Frenchman will apparently be the second player XABI Alonso will want to talk to. For example, I have no doubt that Kylian is capable of listening and adapting his style of play to the needs of the team. But I do have doubts about this. MBAPPE has never played in teams that were able to press. Paris Saint-Germain didn't press. The French national team also builds its football differently, tactically. And will this come naturally to MBAPPE? That's the challenge for XABI Alonso. Or maybe MBAPPE will become exactly the kind of player who doesn't need to track back on defense. Having 3 players not track back is a problem. When only 1 player drops out, it's still more or less manageable. Besides, MBAPPE might have a very narrow role when pressing, like marking one of the central defenders, for example. So probably there won't be a major problem here after all. At the same time, XABI Alonso has already managed to intrigue everyone. MBAPPE and Vinicius Jr are players who make the difference, and we have to get everything out of them. If they give their all, the team will win more. I have ideas on how to use them together. But there is still time before I meet with them, and I need to make sure the players accept my ideas. But some other players whose prospects had been rather uncertain will surely be pleased with XABI Alonso's decision to switch to a 4-3-3 formation. First and foremost, this concerns Rodrigo, with whom the coach will probably have the shortest conversation among all the attacking players. Rodrigo is not as dazzling an attacking player as MBAPPE or Vinicius Jr, but we are certain and have seen many times that he is extremely valuable precisely for the team as a whole. Both the large amount of work he does and the way he can carry out the role assigned to him by the coach with discipline, and previously Ancelotti, and now XABI Alonso make him a player who is valuable to Madrid in every respect, both in attack and, if necessary, in defense. The real question is, will Rodrigo stay or will he end up leaving? Rodrigo says that he wants to stay in Madrid. XABI Alonso says that he is counting on Rodrigo and wants to talk to him. This is the 3rd player XABI Alonso will be speaking with, but there are English clubs that want to buy Rodrigo and are offering big money to Madrid. So, from my point of view, Rodrigo should stay in the 4-3-3 formation. He is very useful. But whether Madrid will be able to keep him is the question. By the way, the 4-3-3 formation also suits Guler, who is waiting for his playing time on the field in a Madrid shirt. He can play on the right in attack and share this position with Rodrigo. Whether Guler will work defensively and press together with the team is also an interesting question, because Guler is a creative player, a player focused on attack, and his defensive skills are still in question. But you know what makes me happy? Guler is a young player, he's very talented and he's very smart, and he can take in new instructions from the coach, pick things up quickly and fit into this team play. So I'm actually not worried about Guler at all. For him, XABI Alonso's arrival could even become a saving grace, finally giving him the chance to become a regular starter. What do you think about Rodrigo's prospects? And about Guler's prospects? Please write your thoughts in the comments. I read all the comments. I also recommend downloading the app, where you'll find all the latest news, Madrid transfers, a fantastic match center with a schedule for the Club World Cup player profiles, and lots of other useful information. I'm leaving the link in the pinned comment. Go ahead, download it and enjoy. And now, let's talk about the players whose prospects aren't so bright. And these are primarily the players in the defensive line. If we have Trent and Carvajal covering the right flank and everything is fine there, on the left side of defense we're waiting for Carreras with Mendy or Fran Garcia set to be his backup. Some will stay and some will leave. In the center of defense we only need 2 players in the starting lineup. Let's say it will be the newcomer Hessen and Rodrigo. We also have Raúl Asensio, who is also competing for a spot in the starting lineup. We're waiting for Militao to recover. He could also become a key player in the squad. The 5th reserve will most likely be a young player, or there is the versatile Tchouaméni, who can also cover this position in central defense in a critical situation. And so we come to the conclusion that Alaba turns out to be redundant here, due to his health, his age and his salary. We know that clubs from Saudi Arabia are interested in Alaba, but at the same time we know that Alaba apparently wants to spend this year in Madrid after all. His contract runs until 2026, and XABI Alonso will have to talk to Alaba. I don't think XABI Alonso is really counting on Alaba. If the formation is 4-3-3, there simply isn't a place for Alaba, especially considering the facts mentioned above. So most likely they'll have to say goodbye to Alaba. And the second player who will almost certainly leave Madrid this summer is the young Brazilian Enrich. It won't be a sale, it will be a lease. And there's already a lot of talk about this. Juventus has already held concrete negotiations about a possible loan. Milan has also shown interest through intermediaries. Among the contenders are Como and the current Italian champions, Napoli. So the loan option for Enrich is Serie A. I'm not very sure about this. I would just prefer for Enrich to develop in the Spanish La Liga, to experience that pace, those teams, those challenges, and to return to Madrid already knowing what he'll be up against wearing Madrid's shirt in this Spanish La Liga. However, as Nico Paz's example shows, it's also possible to develop very well in Italy with good coaches. So if Enrich goes out on loan, I don't think we'll regret it. On the contrary, we wish our young Brazilian good luck, hoping he becomes stronger, more powerful, and returns to Madrid's squad in a year as a fully mature player. These are the important events happening with Madrid right now. In 2 weeks, we'll be starting the Club World Cup. We'll be watching it, watching very closely. The arrival of XABI Alonso is truly as intriguing as it gets. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Thank you to everyone who watched until the end. I wish you a very great week, and goodbye.